It's an artwork in which I'm looking at the world's population. It's an artwork about the amount of people that are born and die within 12 hours. I set about by literally marking each birth with a circle, and I did that 100,000 times. I also realised that 70,000 people die, and I illustrated that with circles. Physically, how long does it take one human to record 12 hours worth of births? Physically, how long does it take to record 12 hours worth of deaths? And it takes months, is the answer. If you spend 2 months drawing 100,000 circles about death, there's a very subtle sense of perspective, almost sadness that comes with it. Birth and death are simultaneously happening continuously at a rate that we can't even perceive. You get a sense of scale of how much birth and life happens on the planet. If I'm sat here and I know there's a piece behind me, I can feel it, there's a presence of it. When I draw circles, I do tallies of 50, so every 50 I'll do a notch, and then you count up the notches into lines of 1,000, and then there's lines of 1,000s into 10,000s, and then 10,000s into 100,000s. I had an assistant in the studio and invited her to contribute to this drawing, and she began drawing circles. She listed me these names of people that she was drawing, and suddenly I realised that I was illustrating a statistic, whereas what she was doing was putting people in this drawing, and it was like, wow, this is what it's about people. And I realised that I should stop doing the drawing, and I should let people bring their histories and their stories into the drawing. And that was an incredibly potent idea for me. The exhibition at the South Bank is a large-scale mural in which we're inviting people to draw circles both to commemorate the dead and celebrate the living. We're getting people to draw and contribute to both of these drawings. And then the third one we've got here, which is basically everyone that's born and died, and that's all of their names recorded on one page.
There's so many of us on the earth that you can't really get hold of the idea of an individual death unless you've been touched by it. I draw my circles, meant an awful lot to me, but it won't mean anything to anybody else except for the fact that it's part of sort of amoebic map of something or other. And I love the way it's sort of growing.
When I was drawing mine, I felt like it stood out. Yeah, you know, and of course it doesn't.
10 for 10 grandchildren.
She's part of something that will be kept and remembered rather than just us remembering her.
I think as you get older, people forget. You forget yourself, what you've done as a young person and all the little experiences you've had. I just put them as circles, and if I ever see it again, I'll think, oh, they're on there. Josh was in Vietnam when he was killed in a road accident.
A woman called Fanny Sedmond, who is a great friend who died just before Christmas.
Dogs. That I felt like maybe that wasn't allowed. And a girl that I went to university with, she was knocked off her bike and killed about 6 weeks ago now.
My grandma always used to go, woohoo, Thai-foo, and now I do it, woohoo, you know, and I just love it because I think, oh, I'm being my grandma, you know. And then in that flash moment, I'll think of her, or think of her crepe skin, you know, as she died, and, you know, remember it, and you just think, well, that's it, you know.
Living with the knowledge of death actually makes you live more fully. I'm remembering my own son who died when he was 3 months. Born and died, so he's on both.
The next layer of circles can only come because that circle's there. You know, and it's like, that's what all of us, that's what we are. You know, it's like we're only part of a continuum, but the next thing can't come until we've been and done our thing.